Marfoogle TV going live in 3, 2, 1.
It's all gonna be okay, no matter what the people say. It's all gonna be all good in the end. Don't listen to the people that say you can't. Listen to the people that say you can't. Everybody knows it.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, aka Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. So hopefully we are live. We have had issues this week, so thank you guys for being patient. Let's get right into it. So if you follow my channel, you know I have a side theory that I've had for a very, very long time, probably longer than I've been on YouTube, about asteroids. Now, there is news coming out today, and I don't know if it is a result as they used an emergency use of the Hubble telescope, or the James Webb telescope, Hubble's replacement, to go track or to look at this asteroid 2024 YR4. Now, for the last few weeks, this wasn't really the distraction, and maybe that could be what it is, as far as a lot of folks called out, hey, there's possibly a asteroid hoax coming to unite all of us. But essentially, this got a lot of attention, but not as much. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on. Again, there's also a lot of people debating, what are the distractions going to be like under this admin? Are they going to be the same? Are we going to have as many distractions, right? The media is usually trying to distract you from something that the admin is doing, or at least that's how it has been for about 4 years now. As far as this goes, this is kind of strange. So we watched as Asteroid 2024 YR4 was at 0.3% chance, or less than that, 0.04%. And then it went up to 0.3, then it went to 0.6, then it went to 1.2, then it went to 1.6, 1.9, then it went to 2.3, then it went to 2.6, and then in 24 hours, and this is all in a couple weeks, then it went up to 3.1, a 0.5 actual jump. So it went from 1 in 1,024 all the way down to 1 in 32 chance that this city killer asteroid would hit Earth and wipe out a complete city. I mean, again, even if it hit in the water, it is big enough that it would survive through the atmosphere, and a chunk of this could literally knock us out. They say when it is that big and it is coming straight at us, that even if it lands in the water, it would cause a massive tsunami. So there really is no good, solution to this unless it hits, into Tunguska or something, way out in the Siberia or something, right? But now they have come out and they say, oh, just kidding, we've updated it. Now it has a 0.04. This does not harm my theory and my personal belief. Again, my theory is not something that everybody needs to have. Again, my theory is based on events that have happened over the past 10 years, and I thoroughly believe that they actually do know about something coming our way. I believe that they've been looking at the sun and in that direction for a very long time, and I believe that that's why places like Sunspot Solar Observatory actually shut down. With this is very, very odd, because now they've all of a sudden said, no, now it raised every single time that all of these astronomers were looking at it. Now, all of a sudden, they got a better look. They've tracked it, and now it is not going to hit us, and it is now a 0.004 chance of hitting Earth in 8 years. Again, it says, according to the space agency's latest calculations, the Center for Near-Earth Object Study previously projected a 3% chance of the asteroid striking our planet before lowering the chance to 0.28% chance last week. NASA said that the changes are due to our continued observations of the asteroid that allows experts to calculate more precise models of the asteroid's trajectory. There's now no significant potential for this particular asteroid to impact Earth for the next century, the agency added. I don't know. Something about this really, really bothers me, especially since right when this came out, China actually developed and said, hey, we are actually going to have our own planetary defense system, and we are going to start this. And by the way, just because this ended up not, they say that this is not happening, that doesn't mean China is canceling their system. And we actually do have a planetary defense agency. So what is the deal with this, and why, again, now all of a sudden they found, oh, no, just kidding. All of those previous astronomers, every last one of them that followed this thing, are now wrong. Was it the closer look with the James Webb telescope? Again, we'll talk about that and much more on today's show. In fact, there's a lot of very serious stuff happening, including, of course, you've got more North Korean troops going into Russia. You've got this whole deal that's going on with our president that essentially is going to continue, at least not stop, the war with Russia and Ukraine. You've got Europe continuing to bolster a World War III situation, and then a whole lot more. So stick around. We're going to talk about the EpiPen files. Of course, they released it. Is this a freaking joke? You'll see in a second. Nothing in this show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough.
Don't listen to the people that say you can't. Listen to the people that say you can. Everybody knows it, just trying to pull you down. It's all gonna be okay, no matter what the people say. It's all gonna be all good in the end. It's all gonna be okay.
All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam, a.k.a. Marf, and this is Marfoogle TV. We've got a lot to go over in a short amount of time. We're going to talk more about the asteroid, but first, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I'm doing just fine.
Now, remember, you have a full bibliography of every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we're going to share here today. That way, you have, at your fingertips, a full source list right there at marfooglenews.com. When you go there, all you have to do is look for today's thumbnail, North Korea, EpiPen files, more troops, city killer asteroid update, and then, of course, all you have to do is then scroll down. You will see every single article, tweet, video, picture, document. You will also see our affiliates at the right side. We are completely independent. We don't have a multi-channel network, and we don't have the support of any of the platforms. And we, of course, are going up against behemoths that get essentially the first 40,000 pages of results. So if you do want to help out the little guy, hit the thumbs up button. Again, I guess they're actually putting more oomph into that, so it really could help us bring in new people, which new people means new people to talk to and new people in the community. But also share us out with people that you don't know. Share us with people at your work, at your gym. Again, that would be very much appreciated. That is the only way we have grown, even to this size, since essentially 2020. So thank you guys. We appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. Let's go over to Dex. So the asteroid it was going up every other day, and now it is all of a sudden just like BS. Like, oh no, just kidding. It's not gonna hit us.
You know, on one hand, you want to be like, okay, great, it's not going to hit us. We don't have to worry about it. But on the other hand, you certainly, got to question why the numbers were heading up, and now they just completely crashed to practically zero. It was like, what, 0.04?
Yeah, I mean, like to nothing. So where did these numbers before come from where they were saying like, oh yeah, this is going to completely hit? Now, for those, there's a good chunk of our audience that, again, even, made fun of me in the first place because they don't believe in this whole scenario in general. And I think that everybody should have their own opinion, and really it's better for people that stick to their own opinions than just to be a follower and to follow somebody else's. Again, I appreciate that and respect it. And I hope that they would return that favor. But as far as this goes, there are so many events over the years that I've talked about at length over the last couple weeks that I believe would make sense if the United States and other countries did know about something, including all of the land grabs, like, hey, we're going to grab Greenland. This whole continent is going to get put together, like, Canada, the serious talk about them becoming the 51st state. Essentially, Russia and Ukraine, China and Taiwan, Venezuela and Guyana, like everywhere with resources, they are essentially trying to grab up and snatch up right now. And no one has ruled out the use of military force. Not only us, but other countries as well. As far as this asteroid thing, I'm going to be following this because I think it's very weird. Is there any way that amateurs can confirm that this is wrong or right? I know that a lot of my friends that track anything in space, they go, oh, well, this is the official site. The data's right there. It's clear as day. But can that data be altered? Can an amateur or can anybody else go up, look at this thing and say, no, the government's lying? That's what I don't know. Again, I'm not a genius astronomer, but if you are, let me know. Could they lie to you about this kind of thing? And again, or could this have been a lie in the first place just to distract us from everything else that was going on? Remember, if that's the case, then what are they distracting you from? We talked about a lot of the back page news, including, all of the stuff with war and everything else, the potential attacks, Israel, Iran, all of that. What were they distracting from? The EpiPen stuff, obviously, we've heard rumors that a lot of that is possibly deleted. And we're going to talk about the joke that was played on people today, and it's not even a joke. It's like literally we knew this information was not going to be fruitful, and it was not going to be, everything we thought it was going to be. When the government lies, it really knows how to keep those lies hidden. So, all right, let's get back into the news. And of course, we have North Korea is sending more troops to Russia, South Korea says. So again, this is coming from South Korea, which now has a new president, which nobody talks about. And they are saying that now North Korea is indeed sending troops. I believe everything that South Korea has actually said over time has been confirmed. Not everything, but as regarding this, anytime we get something from their intelligence, it's been more of fact, less than, we think in 72 hours this is going to happen. So as far as this goes, I personally believe that this is happening because North Korea and Russia have signed treaties to be best friends. Dex, do you want to talk about what is happening here and why are they sending in more troops other than to fight in Russia?
Well, yeah, they had some heavy losses, and this is coming from the National Intelligence Service there, which obviously their job, one of their biggest jobs, is to spy on North Korea. So they would have to be the ones that would probably have the most insight to what may be happening in North Korea. But they're suggesting right now that it could be as upwards of 3,000 more additional troops. This is in addition to the 11,000 that were sent in, but those troops that were sent in had got pretty badly hit. The descriptions that were given, with their tactics on the battlefield and what they were doing, it was, some might say Russia was just throwing them out there as cannon fodder, but others were suggesting that they were, not well organized. And, aside from the silly things that happened behind the line of action, like they were firing upon their own people, when they did engage, they engaged like they were in, some old school war movie where they just ran out into the battlefield, going crazy, and they just get mowed down. So it begs the question, we've talked a lot about how North Korea has invested in their military, but they've never really been they haven't been tested in modern years, let's say. I mean, they've certainly had their fair share of conflict in the past, but not in the last 20 years. So these soldiers are only tested in their, the drills and training they do. They haven't had real world battle testing, so to speak. So part of this is probably Kim's way of gaining some of that experience, but at the same time, maybe that lack of experience is showing.
Yeah, and I mean, you're talking about this generation of soldiers, the ones that have been training right now. This is battle experience. And what is crazy to me is all of these countries that are in that situation where they haven't been at war for a very long time, something like this is invaluable for training. Not only that, people that actually come back from this, the very few of those North Koreans that do come back, they then can train others and have modern data on, to train. As far as the U.S., we've got bases all over the world. Strangely enough, you have like a very big push from both sides now to kind of pull back all of these bases. And I really wonder, we're going the complete opposite way that we were, which was super dystopian. But are we moving fast and breaking things, and could we break the wrong thing? Especially this, global pull we've had over the entire world. As much as people don't like it, and I'm sure there's a lot of countries that hate us, what is the alternative? Is China's not going to stop building bases in other countries. They're not going to stop the Belt and Road Initiative. They're not going to stop putting other countries in positions where they can essentially take control. They're also not going to stop bribing politicians and secretly infiltrating all sorts of world governments. So what is actually going on with this? I don't know. But again, we will be following it. Let's say hello. Thank you, Dar7802. Thank you for the super thanks on yesterday's show. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. And then Shannon Nichols, 2418. Thank you. Craig Alicious. Rena. Thank you. Lolly, B28. B23. Thank you. I appreciate your support. And then Inquiring Minds last night. Thank you so much. Again, Seeking Truth, Stephen McMahon, Kenny Crowder, Callie. Thank you guys for supporting yesterday. Becky D, All Things Random, Olga Turan. Again, thank you for sticking around for now years. And then Stephen Click. Of course, we have Rochelle Cooley. Thank you. And SAG909. Thank you, Wings and Wags Patriot, and so many others. I appreciate all of you guys that have been sharing us out right now. All right, Dex, let's get into the next story, which is North Korea says it performed cruise missile tests days after it vowed to respond to U.S. threats.
Exactly. So it had test fired a strategic cruise missile to demonstrate its nuclear counterattack capability. This was after they were obviously, and they said they did this today. It says Friday. Remember the date time thing. They're a day ahead of us, so to speak. So yeah, this just happened today. Official from the KCNA said that Kim Jong-un was there. He oversaw the missile test off of the West Coast. And that they announced this today, and that the fourth missile launch event this year, and the second since Trump has been president. So I suspect we're probably going to see, as Trump moves on from Ukraine and what's going on in Europe, he's probably going to start engaging with Kim. And I know Kim is probably eager to see that type of attention, so to speak, that he got last time.
And that's if Kim Jong-un is alive. I only say that because of where AI is and some of the controversy over him in the first place. To somebody that, really hasn't followed it, that might sound crazy. And like, what is this goofball talking about? He's not around. Well, there was an incident a few years ago where he perished, or he supposedly perished. The news even reported, he might actually be dead, right? And then they said, no, he's actually got brain damage and he might have had a stroke and he might need months and months to recover. Then they said, no, he's actually fine. He pulled out of this brain surgery, which they said happened, right? And for about 3-4 weeks, we didn't hear at all from him. Yet we heard from his sister. His sister, who didn't exist before this brain surgery, all of a sudden was calling the shots and talking all of the crap. So again, when she started speaking, I've told this a few times, but for anybody new, this is really good. Part of the story is Dennis Rodman. Everybody knows the crazy-haired NBA player, but he's actually good friends with Kim Jong-un. As weird as that is, truth is stranger than fiction. He said, yeah, this is a crazy part. I can't really comment because this is, I'm personal friends with them. But if you start seeing the sister speak for him, then something is seriously wrong. That was before one of the first real comments from her. And then all of a sudden she was talking for him. Since then, they, of course, had all these weird things. And my question is why isn't there the trash talking back and forth? Why have we seen so much less of Kim Jong-un saying the weird and fiery things that he normally says? If we hear anything like that, we hear it from the sister. The sister might be just as crazy, but she could also be a 3-letter agency plant, and that country could be completely taken over already, and we wouldn't even know it. Or it could have been taken over by a country like China. it makes a whole lot of sense when you see China using North Korea almost like a base. North Korea has been getting all of these containers from China. They have ships and they've tracked them from China to, of course, North Korea, then to Russia, almost like North Korea is an extension of China. Then with the president, the South Korean president, who I don't know if is still in jail. Maybe, Dex, can we look up an update see if he's still in jail? He got taken out. And of course, he said he did a martial law for about 12 hours or less and said, hey, there's Chinese infiltration in our government, and they are trying to pretend like they're the other side of the party and that they're empathetic to North Korea. And they were trying to impeach not only him, but all of the members of his staff. And his staff, of course, worked really, really well with us. They were allies, everything else. And then after this martial law, which something big went down, he ended up having 100 and something soldiers outside of the presidential palace, presidential home. And it took a couple weeks, but they went in and they grabbed him. They arrested him. We have not heard much at all. You can go look it up. You can go research and say, oh, he's on trial and he's this and that. But they've essentially done a regime change of South Korea. Right after they had all of this tension, right after they separated their roads, right after they did all of these things, including tear down all of the reunification statues that really gave a lot of the North and South Koreans hope. So all of this put together, I really think something massive is going on here, and I believe it has something to do with China, and that China is all, a part of this. The lack of statements from Kim Jong-un and the lack of the crap talk, I think that people are going to start noticing that, and we might even see in the next couple months that all of a sudden you'll see all these headlines about them speaking trash. So we'll see. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And again, it's never good for these tests to go on, but that's probably the least of what people are worried about right now. Most people are excited and high on hope about seeing EpiPen files and all of this, which I think a lot of that is distraction. Especially, we'll cover it here in a minute, what ended up coming out. And then before we move on, make sure to go check out My Medic. Again, this is an awesome, awesome, awesome kit. And in fact, Dex, I would like you to actually talk about this too. I wanted to show it, so I'm going to grab it off camera. But do you want to talk about why we ended up picking up My Medic?
Well, yeah, they make these here in America, or they assemble them here in America, but they've done it with a team of experts in the medical community to make sure they're putting high quality products, not just cheap first aid kit components that you might get off of, a cheaper bag you might grab on Amazon. And they spent a lot of effort in designing the bags specifically for, and with features that are really high quality for your needs, and things like having those MOLLE straps, or the ability to connect to other MOLLE components. One of my favorite parts is the back panel of it actually rips away. So if you've got your first aid kit mounted on one of your bags or mounted in a vehicle on a MOLLE system, and you need to grab it in a hurry, you can literally just pull it right off, and that Velcro comes off. But inside is what's important. It's all the most important critical components for your first aid kit. They've got different levels, whether you want a regular kit or a pro kit. They've got mini bags, which is what we're showing you here now. They've got larger bags and even full-size bags, depending on what you're looking for.
And I have
but everything is organized really, really well in like a binder. You flip them open. All of the parts that are in there are designed specifically for those sections, and they're all extremely well labeled. And then we're talking high-quality first aid kit parts, not just cheap Band-Aids. We're talking ones that actually stick to you and do what they're supposed to do.
So I have an honest opinion about this, and I think it should come in all kits. I believe it might come in some of the other ones. So one thing I have to recommend, if you guys end up getting the MyFac, or at least the smaller one. So when I first opened this up, what is cool is that everything is individually labeled, and it shows everything that is in that separate package. Like one of them might have a space blanket or 3 space blankets. One of them might have medications in it, and it shows you a list of every medication in it. One thing that I did wish that it had is just a old school piece of paper that showed everything that was in it. It is very, very cool, and it looks like there's so much more in here, and even the website, when it shows, it shows these packages, but each one of those packages shows everything in it. A lot of the times, a company will show you 50,000 things in it to make it look like there's more. This one actually minimizes it even on the website, and I almost think that they should do the opposite, because this does have stuff that I did not have. They have ports for, like, if you have to end up giving somebody a trach, or if you have to give somebody CPR. Some of these kits, of course, come with, something that can block if you have to give somebody CPR, or a chest port, things like that. Things that most people do not have, and they don't sell in, the regular aisle at Safeway or something. So again, this thing is really, really badass. This is, again, what the professionals use, and like he said, it has the mole pad. When you get these guys, again, you are helping our channel. We have been it's been an uphill battle and a downhill for like the last 4 years. So we don't ever ask that you guys donate anything like that. We don't ever, again, ask you guys to get these kind of things. But when you do, we have to say thank you, because we do appreciate it. And again, covering the controversial stuff we did throughout CV and all of that, it was hell. And a lot of the channels like mine got marked. So again, we appreciate that you guys do this, but the only thing I want to point out is every single product that we have ever put on the show has been something that I have personally used and that I personally believe in. And that is everything on here. I do think that if you had every one of the items, that you will have a better chance of surviving a disaster, or even a storm or a car accident, whatever it may be. Again, these things are absolutely awesome. Go check it out. Again, we appreciate that you guys do. Nobody likes ads. Nobody likes us. Nobody likes having products even talked about. But I will say this: if you do believe in independent media and you understand how the last 4 years went, then you may actually understand. So we do thank you. Marfooglenews.com/medic, and make sure to use the code MARF. Again, there's all sorts of other cool stuff, and then of course there's bigger bags too. Again, with that mole system that will attach right to your back. Right now, they are currently out of gray, but they have almost every other color. So go check it out. Marfooglenews.com/medic, and make sure to use the code MARF, not only to save money, but to help our independent channel. All right, and then driver in Israel injures 10 in suspected ramming attack. So with this, if you look at the last week, there was the bus explosion, and they called that also an attack. This is more reason for now Israel to go after Iran. I've seen many, many comments and a whole debate that is going on right now on X, whether these are, legit attacks, or if they are Fantastic Freddy kind of events to get something started, to have reason to start a huge attack. Mainly, they have talked about two things. Iran has talked about True Promise 3, which is them essentially launching tons of rockets, or we don't know, rockets and drones, which it will be the third time they do this massive attack on Israel. Israel, over the last 2 weeks, there has been rumor and chatter and official, stories coming out that they are planning to attack Iran's nuclear sites. Now, we've covered the nuclear capabilities of Iran for years. You guys know I've been frustrated how they say they're this close. Just yesterday, they said now they have enough to make 6 bombs by Friday, which I don't understand. Then that probably means they have 6 bombs, right? They have underground cities. Why wouldn't they just make it underground where we couldn't tell if they had it? So just assume that they are saying that they have nukes. If that is the case, if they go after the nuclear sites, that would essentially take out everything we've talked about for years. If they do that, it's going to be on like Donkey Kong. So this is a big deal as far as this attack in this ramming thing, which we have seen a lot of in the last 10 years. It's just like we never really heard of this as a kind of event until really the last 7 or 8 years, and that's when it, or at least 2010. I don't remember when the first really big one that they talked about was here in the United States. But they were happening all over the world for a period of time. That was after, of course, explosives were found all over the world. This was all after, of course, 2001, where we had straight 12 years of, it was like every other week there was some sort of event, from somebody walking into a church to somebody driving over a sidewalk. It has been happening. It seems to me that this has picked back up. So will this continue to be a pattern? That's what I wonder. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. Again, they say that at least 10 people were injured. And what was the count on that? I think did 4 people perish, or what was the actual, or did no one perish and they just had 10 injuries? I was trying to remember what they said.
The ramming was just 10 people injured, 1 serious.
Wow, which is extremely, extremely lucky. All right, Rochelle Cooley says, Marf, is there enough room for my extra stuff? If you're talking about the medikit, no. To be honest, well, yeah, I mean, if it's little stuff, if it's your kind of medkit stuff, and then if you take everything out of the packages, I don't know. That's the other thing. It does come packed to the brim. So, but with the Mole, I think I said that right. Mole system, it's on the front too. So you can actually get a small bag and then put it on the front of this one, and then put this and Velcro it onto your Mole bag. If you don't know what Mole is, too, again, we're actually looking for a good Mole company. But it's a very cool system where you weave it in. Most preppers know about the Mole system. It's even on camera bags and things too. It's a great system where you can attach like 50,000 things to your bags, and it's very good, especially if you had to travel or for go bags. So again, you could do that, or you could get a separate little pouch, super cheap, that has room for that, and you could attach it to this one. All right, and then Dex, let's talk about Mexico agrees to send dozens of drug cartel members to U.S. for prosecution. Whoa.
Yeah, this ought to be interesting. So yeah, they have technically, I guess, agreed as part of the coordination and cooperation and bilateral reciprocity within the framework of respecting the sovereignty of both nations, the Mexican government said, but they're now agreeing to send some of the Sinaloa cartel founding member Rafael Caro Quintero and former Zetas cartel leader Miguel Angel Trevinos Morales to the U.S. So the United States has been trying to secure their arrests for over 40 years, it says. So this is going way back in time, which kind of is interesting when you think about how, there's all this talk and evidence and rabbit holes about how parts of, our federal government have actually worked with the cartels over the years. It just makes you wonder how much we've worked with these guys versus we've really tried to get them to come into America. So now we're getting them in to prosecute them, apparently.
Zadizia says a super Mole. Mole, I think it's pronounced. Dex, is it pronounced Mole?
I say Molly.
Oh, well, that's easier. Molly likes Molly. Truth Iris, Mark Matheny, thank you for being here. Too much hate in this world, and the people gather together and stop it. Much love all. Guys, you remember the feeling in the United States? Okay, I'll say this. I'm sure you had a similar day in Europe after other events, or if you're in France, after the train event. But here, after 2001, it was actually something I will never, ever forget. It was the short period of time that everybody had American flags. Everybody was proud of their country. Do you guys remember this? Please put it up in chat if you really, really vividly remember this period of time. Right before, I think the media really, really pushed hard for months and months about how people of a certain type were getting treated badly, and then it just kind of ended the real kind of positive vibe that everybody was on. During this time period, like the Black Eyed Peas and others did these songs like "Where Is the Love?", all of these songs, which I bumped out to. I'm sure most of you did too. But during this time, it was like everybody, I remember people opening the door for me. Every stranger that I saw in the street, they said hi. People said, "God bless you. Hey, can I help you with that?" I remember even, people helping back then, helping my mom. My mom was very, very frail, helping my mom with stuff and grabbing groceries and putting them in her trunk. I remember actually at that time, I think that was, with a cab. She was in a power chair. People would help her and do that kind of stuff. I also remember, and remind you, I was in 8th or 9th grade, I think. But I remember people were just so nice to each other. There was this whole push, and that was one part of my life. It was probably, I don't know, I don't even think it was a year. I think it was months where people were truly united. and it was awesome. So when you said that, like the much love, I think we could get back to that place. But unfortunately, right now, there are so many wars on the horizon that we really need to not only be prepared and know what's going on, but also have that, other side of the coin, to be positive and to push that. Because the more of us that are like that, the better it's going to be off. I mean, really, I think that the one secret that people don't know is that doesn't matter if you're on YouTube or on movies or on TV, you can literally just put this wave out to every single person you interact with that really does spread. Just like negative vibes spread. You go to the coffee place, people were, rude to you or whatever. It ruins your day for the rest of the day. Or some checker says something to you and it sticks with you for the rest of the day. Well, the same thing goes with compliments and treating people nice. And again, I've talked about kick the cat a long time, but if somebody's having a negative day, they treat you bad. Then you go home and you treat the cab driver bad. Cab driver, ends up going home and treating his kid bad. And then the kid ends up going down the hallway. He's grounded for nothing, and he kicks the cat. What did the cat do? Nothing. It's an old Zig Ziglar line, but it actually stuck with me really, really well. And that's because that's how the world is really now, only it's all negativity. So this show, we do talk about the end of the world stuff and all the negative stuff. But again, there's a reason why there's a shoutra. There's a reason why we try to end it on a positive note, because it can get overwhelming. People can get scared, and that's not what we're about. I think that all of you, though, have way more power than you think, like superpowers. All right, and then going into the next story, Donald, the president suggests he will be back. He will back UK in the Chagos Island deal. Now, I was trying to look at this and see if there's anything weird about this. Whenever I see that somebody is trying to acquire or to keep power over, places like this that are strategic, that are, going to be having a part in the next war or any war, and then I try to look for something, but I really couldn't find anything with this. If you guys see something, let me know, and I'll just talk about this. And if you have an opinion about how this could be, something or other, if you're in Europe, let me know. But it says the president has strongly hinted that he will back a deal in which the UK hands sovereignty of the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, including the Diego Garcia military base, which is jointly used by the U.S. It says, quote, "I think we'll be inclined to go along with your country," the U.S. president told reporters during an impromptu press conference, it said, "I have a feeling it is going to work out very well." This was to Keir Starmer, which again, many opinions today got embarrassed. It says the apparent backing may surprise to British officials who had been prepared for a possible pushback against the idea. Speaking the day before, David Lammy and the UK Foreign Secretary said that the President Trump would have an effective veto over the plan, given the joint use of Diego Garcia. The Conservatives have raised repeated objections to the draft plan to hand over control of the islands to Mauritius, and I think I say that right, with the Diego Garcia base remaining under UK control on a 99-year lease. And some in the government are also worried about the proposal. Asked about the plan, he sat alongside Starmer, which I think did they spell that wrong? No, they didn't. Starmer, and said, "We're going to have some discussions about that very soon, and I have a feeling it's going to work out very well." They're talking about a very long-term, powerful lease, a very strong lease. I'm surprised he didn't throw in a very magnificent lease. About 140 years, actually. It's a long time. I think we'll be inclined to go along with your country. Of course, mentioning that Diego Garcia base is much of ours, right? He added, "It's a little bit early. We have to be yet given the details, but it doesn't sound bad." Starmer has argued that the talks with Mauritius, started under the last government, are vital to secure the future of the military base, given uncertainty about the future of UK control of the islands after international court rulings. Now, Dex, do you want to talk about just quickly about the court rulings and why this is even happening in the first place?
So look, it's been controlled by the UK for the longest time. It's sort of like their territory. They took it over, and when they built Diego Garcia, they kicked the people out in that area and pushed them to other parts of the island and built the base that the US and the UK uses. But the International Court is saying that Emeritus is in control. It should be in control of it. It should have its own say. And what that really comes down to is we'd have to leave if we don't want if they don't agree for us to stay. So the question is, can they come to an agreement, or and an agreement on a lease, which they suggested a 140-year lease, which would be a long plenty of long period of time, and things can just continue operating like normally versus us having to just pack up and walk away.
And thank you, Scott Glufrida. Again, always correct me if I pronounce something wrong. I have no shame in admitting I say things horribly. Said it's pronounced Mauritius or Mauritius, if that is correct. And then somebody else probably say, no, it's tomato. But whatever. You guys get the point. Mauritius. And then Beans and Frank, nice to see you. We've got Truth Iris. We've got Ilea in the house. Ilea, thank you so much for being at almost every show. I appreciate you. I'm hoping that you and your fam are doing good and your whole situation is good. And then Dale Jackson, thank you. Planet Brad, thank you. Tyges NZ, Penny Salmons, and Bruno Freebe. Let's see here. And Sean C., aiming for wisdom too. Amen, Adam. Jesus is love. Hey, aiming for wisdom. Nice to see you. And then M. St. G., super prayer powers, which actually I do appreciate. There's a couple of you that have wrote me letters probably every day since my video last month. You guys are incredibly, incredibly sweet. And thank you for the prayer that you put at the end of every one of them. I know you want to stay anonymous, but again, those prayer letters have been like, you are a very great writer. Just incredible how your initial stuff about the news and stuff like that, you have very much more talent than I've seen in so many people with writing. Writing and comprehension and reading and comprehension is one of my strongest in 7th grade post-college. And I thought you are a freaking writer. So I hope you do something special with that. And then your prayers are just so well put together. So thank you. I think you should totally let me read those. But either way. And then if the president doesn't like the deal will not go forward, Lammy said. Quote, the reason for that is because we have a shared military and intelligence interest with the United States. And of course, they've got to be happy with the deal or there is no deal. Well, we know who is president right now, the king of the deal, the art of the deal. So very, very cool. Leora, thank you for joining the fam. I appreciate that. Thank you, Susan, as well. Thank you for hitting 16 months. Appreciate that. Thank you, and thank you. And Bill, thank you for subscribing. It looks like 7 minutes ago. Dan, thank you for subscribing 3 minutes ago. And Sarah B., thank you for subscribing. Searcher07, thank you for the support. I appreciate that. And again, one right there. Brock, thank you for subscribing. I appreciate that. All right. And back into it. This whole situation is just a cluster. This is a true circus, and it's a joke all in one. And you'll know what I mean in a second. So if you have been following the whole Epstein files, it has been a complete mess, just as every other one of these, like, oh, well, we're going to put out all of the information. I don't think that this is the president's fault. I don't think it's Pam Bondi's. I don't think it's Kash Patel's fault. I think that the previous people that were in charge of all of this stuff most likely are either on the payroll or they, don't want this to come out because they know somebody who is, right? Or who's on that list. So here is the joke of all of this. The EpiPen release essentially had almost nothing. Pam Bondi essentially said, hey, I found out through another colleague that there's over 2,000 pages of investigation. Well, it turns out what they got is way, way less than that. Most of it is the client list, with the addresses redacted, which is absurd because the client list with most of it with addresses and everything was put out on X a couple year ago or 2 years ago or something. So the public got a better version of that than what they got in this file. Then the other part of this was the client list and the flight logs. Well, the flight logs were talked about in all of the trial stuff with Ghislaine Maxwell. So this whole thing was kind of a joke, and they gave copies of this to influencers today. So I'll show you this, but it's like this was after last week. I told you there was rumors, and I believe these rumors are true, where, and we haven't verified this yet, but there was a lot of videos talking about how Kash Patel was questioning that somebody was deleting files, getting rid of stuff, not only regarding CV, but also regarding this whole EpiPen list, and that people secretly were going and shredding and burning documents. Well, no duh. Like anytime the government, doesn't matter who's in charge, says, oh, we're going to put out everything, it's almost every single time during my lifetime been, hey, we're putting out everything, minus everything that really matters, or the stuff that would get us absolutely heated or pissed off is all redacted. I mean, it is just incredible. Dex, as far as, every time they tell us that they're going to release something, and I'm not only talking about this president, but in any president, there's always somebody else who's in a back room deleting it somewhere.
Yeah, and right now all fingers are pointing to what's called SDNY, which is the Southern District of New York, which is at a federal, it's a federal part of the federal agency, the DOJ and FBI. So it's one of the largest and one of the most powerful outside of DC areas in the Department of Justice. And that organization is the one currently being blamed. And a whistleblower had come out and said, hey, there's thousands of files. There's tons of information from videos to other things that are all there. And what you have is like, they just gave you lip service. They gave you the public information that's been out for years, and you put it in a binder and made a fool of yourself, basically. And yeah, Pam's pissed because what was presented to her from the FBI, not Kash personally, but from the FBI, from the request of give me everything so we can release it, was, hey, we're just going to give you a handful of things that have already been out in public. I mean, you could have gone online and got this stuff. It was from, like you said, the trial with Ghislaine. It was from earlier when some of the book first came out ages ago, and that was it. That's really it. And she put it together in a binder. They made a big deal because they were trying to get the information out to some of the alternative media sources. They had them at the White House. They gave them all these binders, but in reality, inside it was boring. It was nothing.
Yeah, and did you attach that photo? Is that here too? This was the actual letter too, by the way. Just a little excerpt out of this. Before you came into office, I requested the full and complete files related to the Jeffrey EpiPen stuff. In response to this request, I received approximately 200 pages of documents. Now remember, now they're saying there's like 2,000. So this is total bull crap. And technically, under this falls under Kash Patel right now, but he's been in the office for 3 days. So what is actually going to happen? Is he going to be able to pull strings? Or when he goes into the file cabinet, which is supposed to have all this stuff, or the files, is it going to say, oh, yeah, we accidentally shipped that to a CIA safe house, and we had 2 of our agents burn it for national security? Sorry, and those agents are on black projects, so we can't actually disclose their names, and they are now, in a sailboat in Malta trying to take over a regime. So sorry about that. It's just crazy how every time they say, oh, we're going to release something like the UFO disclosure, it's always a big distraction. And I don't think, in this case, they mean to put this stuff out, but the U.S. government is a monster, and it will, it'll grab the leash right back on its stuff. With this, though, too, with the JFK stuff, it's like when they say, oh, we'll release stuff, but then it ends up coming out redacted. A lot of it is so that people have something to talk about and that people will go, yeah, hell yeah. It is very good PR too, and I'm sure the president actually does want to put this stuff out. But it doesn't hurt that it's good PR to say we're going to be the ones that release all this stuff. But we still have never seen them fully release all of this. Why? Well, there's probably stuff in there, like in the JFK stuff. There's stuff that people are going to be absolutely heated over. The 9/11 stuff, they're never going to tell us the truth on that. What if they say we did it? Like, do you think that we would have an instant civil conflict on our hands? We would have an instant, uprising at least. At least that's my opinion. Almost everybody here, and I mean everybody, knows somebody who was affected by, 2001. So again, I just never hold my breath for these kind of things. Dex, go ahead.
Yeah, if you want to grab that image, I'll give the gist of this letter real quick. So they, I put it in up next. She wrote a letter today to Kash Patel and basically demanded by 8 a.m. tomorrow that he release all of the information. So that's what the letter is. You guys can go read it. Pretty stern letter, but she also admits it's not his fault because she said, I made this request long before you came in the office because he's only been in there a few days now. But she's expecting to, and she even announced and admitted that he now has heard that there's this whistleblower with thousands of pages of information that has not been released.
And I don't know who all of these guys are. I know that guy. That is one of the, I believe, I don't know. Oh, that's the guy who stood out on the street corner. I don't know if this was in Seattle. You know why I recognize that guy? He is the one, he is the gay influencer that went out and basically schooled people on the government and how the system was messed up. Did you guys remember that viral video? He had a face covering at the time, and he was basically just talking all sorts of trash about how things were running. That video, I almost agreed with everything he said. But the rest of these people, I really don't recognize most of them.
Behind the cowboy hat. Who is that? That's it's not Paso. Is that Pasovic?
That's Jack. That's Jack Pasovic. On the left here, I think that's the guy from that used to be on. Wasn't that the guy they said was Proud Boys-ish or something? What was his name? I can't think of him. He has his own show that's connected with one of the bigger
Someone said Chad Prather, and
maybe that's not who I think.
I don't know.
I'm not thinking right.
Saying someone else.
That other guy has the big mustache and glasses. Who is the blonde woman here? Is that Pam Bondi?
That's Pam Bondi.
Yeah. Okay, it's blurry. And I have no idea about these other ones. I know him, and that's and Jack Posobiec, but that's it. It looks like they gave them Make America Great hats. So the whole thing is a joke so far. We'll see. Are they going to get those extra 2,000 files or 2,000 pages? I highly doubt it. I think somebody has already burnt the damn things. There is so much at stake with these files, and I doubt the government even kept them on file. I bet it is super compartmentalized. I bet that list has government people on it. I bet that list probably has somebody that is even in the current admin right now. You never know. There's so much corruption that is far and wide, and just like last time in office, I mean, it took about 6, 7, 8 months, but you saw within that time period, there were so many two-faced people that were right next to the prez. What's funny is there was two-faced people around him last time, but in the last admin, you really didn't see too many two-faced people against JB, because I guess many of them were all on the same side. It really felt like everybody was kind of in the same agenda. Dex, go ahead.
The blonde is Liz Wheeler, the one from the original tweet. But,
I thought that looked like
not Bondi. Yeah, she does have blonde hair. It's hard to see. It's a blurry image. But a great comment from Inquiring Minds. He goes, "Those boxes." He really means the binders, because that's what they did. They prepared these fancy binders and put the seal and everything in it, or the printout in there. He said it looks like they would hold more than 200 pages, and they probably would. It's just not a lot of information they put out. It's missing about another 1,800 pages or more. Dale
Val, another comment, says, we need to have a shakeup. Too many stupid incentive. I think you mean insensitive humans. Sorry, I see too many. I pray I'm wrong. Well, yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. And then JPass, thank you. Let's see here. Amana Maker, Planet Brad, thank you. Louis Tramposh, Funky Buddha. We've got Amana Maker. Saw somebody today that I haven't seen in a month. The first thing she said to me was an intentional targeted comment designed to make me feel small and boost her ego. People suck. I forget what they call that. Backhanded comment. Yeah, there's people like that. And you know what? They did a study on this, and this is very fascinating. So if you sit, Dex, have you ever heard of this? If you sit next to, they took school children in classes and they took workers in work environments, and they did a study. When a person would sit next to the highest performers, that their performance would go up 15%, right? Their performance went up 15%. But listen to this. The people that sat next to the lowest performers and the most negative, their negative performance was 30%. So they had 30% negative effect. So you can hang out with just a couple of really great people and it will boost you immediately. If you hang out with even one negative person that is just constantly complaining or just victim this, victim that, those people are going to literally pull you down. And if you are one of the few that a lot of people have said that you always play the victim or that you are negative or you complain a lot, I really pray that a lot of people can see that within themselves. I have close family and people that, have fallen in that category. And what I have seen is I have seen people turn around from being constantly negative and always complaining and being the victim. My mom was a victim for sure. She always blamed everything on life, on her circumstances and everything else. But again, we can turn all those things around. You just gotta really focus on your life and who you're surrounding yourself with, and surround yourself with positive people. Dex, go ahead.
So if I'm negative and I surround myself with positive people, I bring those positive people down 30, even though they're lifting me up.
But
right?
Yours would be going up 15%. Maybe it's because the bell curve or something.
Choose wisely who you affect, right?
Well, there's never going to be two people on the same level, right? So, yeah, you would bring that positive performer. And then there's just those rock stars that really outperform everybody. Sit next to that person and really surround yourself with people that are going to push you up and not push you down. I mean, it's common sense, but do we do it? No. There's a lot of people. My friend Jack, when I used to drink a lot back in my 20s, he gave me a ride home, and he goes, essentially I was super drunk one night, gave me a ride home, and I was like in between. I was in a spot where I was basically homeless, living in a hotel. And he goes, you know what, man? He goes, he broke down in tears. He's like, man, I'm watching you kill yourself. And for him, who I've known for, decades, that stuck with me more than anything. And that's the friend I've talked about multiple times, the guy that will, take a 10-mile detour to go help somebody with their tire, or, he'll literally go out of his way. And half the time it's like, oh, no, we're good. We got, AAA. But he will do it almost every time. He's the kind of person that you need help moving. He's actually there. He's not going to say, oh, well, I just really don't feel like it, or make you some excuse. He's going to be there. So anytime I was with him, I was actually, my everything was just going in a positive direction. So you got to find those kind of people. I'm sure some of you have those people in your life, but make sure to really try and keep in touch with them and have them involved. Most recently, if you guys have followed, I had a really, really big health scare, and just like any other, like with my car accidents, it seems like there's this kind of period of time afterwards where it was like, I could have died. You have kind of a new outlook. The challenge is to keep that outlook after a period of time. It is very hard with the world how it is right now, and inflation and everything. But we all just got to take things day by day. And I thank all of you for showing up show after show and hanging out with us. Before we move on, make sure to go check out Grid Down Bug Outs. As far as a generator, this is our top recommendation for a solar generator. I've got one right behind me right here. This is the grid down bug out. And then, of course, I don't have it here. I actually took it off the top, but the XP, what you don't get a scale of is they are big, but they are carryable because they are lithium iron phosphate. It's a lighter and more efficient battery. Not only that, as far as this goes, it is incredible. If you're charging this from the wall while we still have power and you want to use it for anything else, if you want to go power your tools, bring it to you with work and have essentially a grid anywhere, then again, this thing charges in as little as 2.3 hours. If you have the XP, I think it says about 4 hours. I think I timed it at 4 hours and like 4 minutes on mine. But again, it even has a built-in cord, so you never have to worry about adapters. It just stores right in the back. And then it's got a 30 amp plug-in for those of you that are RV or van lifers, or if you have a motorhome that you want to put something in like this. Again, you can also hook this up to solar panels. Again, this is an incredible solar generator. The main part of this is you would use this right now for, storms and things like that, keep it charged up. But when it really goes sideways, solar panels are so inexpensive now. You get yourself a bunch of solar panels, you'll be able to end up having essentially unlimited power. As long as the day comes up again and the sun comes out, you'll have power. Even on cloudy days, you still get power, you just get less. So this is an incredible system. The greatest part about it, and the reason why we waited almost a year for this company, is because it is directly connected with EMP Shield, and every one of these packages comes with one. Not only that, if you get anything over just the main unit, if you get the XP, you can actually now still, while they still have it, apply for that 30% tax rebate. Because it's over 3,000 kilowatt hours, you're basically upgrading to solar, right? So you can apply for that. So that would be the main unit and the XP. That comes with the EMP Shield, which means you are going to be protected not only against EMP strikes from adversaries, but a Carrington-level event from the sun. That way you are always going to know you have power. Highly recommend having a gas-powered generator as well, but as we all know, when things go south, we're not going to have gas stations for long. And many of you probably don't have room in your living room for gallons and gallons or barrels of gas. This is an incredible option. Go check it out, marfooglenews.com/bugout, and make sure to use the code MARF. Again, that's marfooglenews.com/bugout. Thank you, Neil Nelson. Thank you for gifting memberships. I appreciate that. Thank you, Neil, and thank you for making it to so many shows I can't count. So thank you. All right, and then let's see here. Let's go back over to the chat here. Let's see. Searcher07, thank you. Neil Nelson, it looks like you are a top supporter tonight. Rochelle Cooley, thank you. Marf, again, thank you. I appreciate that. And then Inquiring Minds, thank you. Seeking Truth and everybody else this week, appreciate all of you guys' support. Tomorrow we will be back, and we will be back earlier. Tomorrow is Friday, so we will be on no later than 6:30, and we might actually be on a little bit earlier. So make sure to sign up for our notifications. You can get them at marfooglenews.com. All of those notifications, all you need to do is sign up with your email. You can use a Proton Mail. That's all we need. And then we can actually send you notifications through that, or you can actually get on our email list again with that, or you can just click the bell when you go to our website, and your browser will tell you every time we're live. All right, and then Dex, thank you so much for your service tonight. I appreciate you.
Much love. Great job, brother.
And then go check out marfooglenews.com/friends. We got to drop an M in the chat right now before we go anywhere else for the chat mods. They are absolutely awesome people. These are not just random faces. These are people that I know. Almost every one of them has been here for more than 4 years, I would say. Yeah. Ilea and Bobby Sue is the newest. Ilea is number 2. But behind that, it was pretty much all, these are day one people. So go and check them out. They all have channels. They're all creators. They're all budding authors like Chance over on Amazon. There's so many great people there They all care. Trinity has been deep diving into some crazy stuff. She also has a membership program. So if you want to go join a membership in the Foogle fam, go grab a membership from her. Go grab a membership from Wages. Go grab a membership from the Lifeboat, which is down in the other friends. These guys are all great. Make sure to grab a membership or go support Jacob Israel or some of our other friends down there. There's lots of great people. We got to spread the positivity and keep it rolling. Thank you guys. Much love. Again, Dex, thank you. And yeah, be safe. Be prepared. And Marf out. It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shout out. It's a shoutro.
It's all gonna be all good in the end. It's all gonna be okay, no matter what the people say. It's all gonna be all good in